Hey guys, welcome back. In this video I'll be teaching you guys on how to cut and sew a shirt. So this is my pattern paper. The length of my shirt is 25 inches and this pattern is for the front. The first thing I'll do is to take 3 inches and I'll roll into a straight line. This is where I'm going to be attaching my button for my shirts. What I'll do next is to fold in my 3 inches so that I can start taking my measurements. So I'll bring in my back pattern paper. My back pattern paper is longer than my front pattern paper. So this is what I mean. What I'll do is to come down by 2.5 inches on my back pattern paper. So I'll roll into a straight line like this, and then I'll place my front pattern paper on the back pattern paper, bearing in mind that my 3 inches is still folded inside. I'll place it on it like that, and I'll make sure that all the parts aligns, and then I'll pin so that it will not move. I'll cut out the excess pattern paper so that I'll be able to take my measurements. I'll take my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and then I'll come down by 2 inches for my shoulder slope. After taking out my shoulder slope, I'll go ahead and cut it out, and then I'll remove my pins and I will draw my front pattern to meet the down part so they'll be on the same line. So my back pattern is 2.5 inches longer than my front pattern. So right now they are the same length. So this is what I mean, and I'll pin everything back and I'll take my measurements. So what I'll do next is to fold my back pattern paper. I'll make sure it's touching the front pattern paper just like what you are seeing. So I'll fold it over like this. I'll pin it, and then I'll take my shoulder measurement divided by 2 again on that folded line. From that point, I'll take my round armhole divided by 2. My round armhole measurement is 16 inches. 16 divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I'll come down by 8 inches. And then I'll run into a straight line. I'll also take the measurement from my shoulder to my bust point, which is 10.5 inches, and I'll rule a straight line across. I'll take the measurement from my shoulder to my hip line, which is 23 inches. I'll also rule a straight line across it. On my armhole line, I'll divide what I have. I have 8 inches. I'll divide it by 2, and then I'll indicate that point. And on my bust point, I'll take my bust measurement divided by 4. I will indicate it also. Also on my armhole line, I'll take my bust measurement divided by 4. I will indicate it. and then I'll curve out my armhole like this. On my hip line, I'll take my hip measurement divided by 4 and then I'll connect the lines from my armhole to my bust and to my hip line. So what I'll do next is to add 1 inch to all my points for stitching allowance. On the neck area, I'll take 2.5 inches as my neck width. And for my front neckline, I'll take 3 inches. On the base of my shirt, I'll go up by 1 inch and then I'll slant to meet the other end. This is because I don't just want the down part of my shirt to be straight, but if you want yours to be straight, you can skip this part. So what I'll do next is to cut. On the neckline, I'll remove my pin and this is how I'm going to cut. I'll just cut these folded parts like this. This is for the back, so that's the back neckline. So I'll bring the front neckline like this after removing my pins and then I'll cut it out. So we are done with the pattern drafting. This is the front and this is what it looks like, and this is the back. This is what it looks like. So what I'll do now is to place my pattern on my fabric folded into 2 and then I'll trace out like this. So this is the front pattern and we have 2 pieces of this. So once we fold our 3 inches in, this is what it's going to look like. So we are going to also place our back pattern on the fabric and we'll cut. Please make sure you are cutting your back pattern on fold. We only need 1 pattern for the back. So this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and trim out this part of the neckline because we don't need it. So I'll measure the 3 inches that we took out for our buttonhole. I'll measure it and I'll give it a knot just for me to know where to sew. So what I did next was to fold my 3 inches in. So I folded 1.5 inch and then I folded another 1.5 inch, making it 3 inches, and then I'll pin and go sew. At this point, you can go ahead and iron. I'll sew on a straight line. I'll do this for the 2 front pieces. So after sewing, this is what I have. What I'll do next is to join my back and my front piece together. After doing that, this is what I have. What I'll do is to measure my neckline, because we are going to cut a collar, and this collar that I'm going to cut, I'll cut out both the collar stand and the collar itself together. So what I have after measuring is 17 inches. So I'll illustrate how to cut this collar on this pattern so that you guys can understand well. So we got 17 inches and my pattern paper is folded into two. So I'll take half of 17 inches, which is 8¼ I will indicate it, and then I'll also take half of 8¼ which is the middle point of what I just took. I'll use my tape like this to find the middle point of 8¼ I'll also indicate that like this. So what I'll do next is to go up by 1 inch from that first 8¼ So I went up by 1 inch like this, and then I'll just straighten the line like this, and I'll connect from, I went up a little bit, so I'll connect from that 1 inch to meet the half of 8¼ I don't know if you understand. So I'll slant from here like this to meet the half of 8¼ So after doing that, I'll go up by 1 inch all the way down. So from this point, I'll go up by 1 inch like this, and then I'll connect all my dots together. So I'll just measure my line to know whether I'm still on track. Remember we had 8¼ you see I went off a little bit, so I'll just straighten my line to make sure that I'm still on track. That's 8¼ right there. So I'll connect the 8¼ line, I'll connect it to the 1 inch that we just went up with, and from that point I'll go up by 2 inches just the way we did for the other line. I'll keep going and then I'll connect my line also. On this edge right there, I'll go up by 1/4 inch. And on this other end, I'll come in by 1.5 inches. What I'll do next is to slant from this 1.5 inches to meet the 1/4 inch that we went up with. And then I'll blend this line to meet with the 2 inches. So I'll go ahead and cut. We have both our collar and our collar stand, and this is what it looks like. So I'll go ahead and cut out 2 pieces of this collar with my fabric, and then I'll iron a gum stay in it, and I'll show you guys what I mean. So this is my collar. I left allowance that I'll use to join my collar to my shirt, and then I ironed a gum stay in it, and this is what it looks like. I also went ahead to cut out my sleeve. I have so many videos of how to cut a sleeve on my channel, so if you don't know how to, go ahead and watch it. And I cut out two. What I'll do is to hem the base of my sleeve, and then I'll go ahead and attach my collar to my shirt, and I'll attach my sleeve to my shirt, and I'll come back and show you guys the finished look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned one or two from this video. Please don't forget to like this video so that others can see it. Subscribe to my channel if you have not, and I'll see you guys in the next one.